Last time on Dragon Ball Z, poor Alexander was getting more and more inebriated while trying to explain the plot of this show in the last video. Now he will attempt to continue where he left off and explain the Cell Saga, also considered to be the Android Saga, depends on which one you prefer. He will be drinking something completely different this time and it may have a different effect on him. Let's see what happens now. Hey, do you like cringe? I like cringe, and that's why I made that. But yeah, as the freaking prologue suggests, we're gonna be continuing to talk about Dragon Ball Z. We left off after the Saiyan and Frieza sagas, so now it's time to talk about the Android/Cell saga. Let's see how much of this I can get right. This is actually the saga that I remember a little bit. Like, okay, Saiyan saga I remember, Frieza saga I remember a little bit better. Cell saga, meh. Boo saga, I hardly remember that at all. So we'll see what things are like when I get to the Boo saga. But as I said, I'm going to be drinking something different. Today is Jameson. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this baby open. Get a nice little healthy dosage here. That seems fine to start. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to my old rule where every time I introduce a new concept to Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to take another drink. I think it's just every time something new happens, I guess. We're going to start with one for good measure. That's nice. So some time has passed since the destruction of Namek. I think it's been like maybe 6 months. I think it might have been closer to a year, actually. I don't exactly remember if I think a transmission comes from a ship that's like, hey, Goku is on his way. He'll be at these coordinates when he lands, and you can meet him there. I think is how that whole thing goes down. Bulma, Yamcha, Vegeta, Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo, after all the dead ones, including Tien and Chaozu, have all been brought back one by one with the Dragon Balls, go to that place, and then something a little unexpected happens. 1 second. As it turns out, in the time where our heroes have been, moving on with their lives, Frieza wasn't killed by the destruction of Namek. His race, well, he specifically is a mutant of his race. His race is already extraordinarily durable, but he, being mutated, can survive more than you would expect him to. So he's kind of just drifting out in space with half a body, and his father, King Cold, from the last video, comes and gets him, fixes him up. He becomes Mecha Frieza. He's actually stronger in this form than he ever had been previously, but that doesn't matter because when they arrive on Earth, it's like, oh, I'm gonna destroy the Earth, and then it's just like, bring me Goku, something like, and I'll kill Goku and I'll destroy the Earth. But another person shows up in a time machine with a jacket and a sword. The origins of this sword are non-canon, but I like to think he was given to him by his friend Tapion. Point is, he becomes a Super Saiyan, which kind of blows everybody's mind, especially Vegeta, because it's like, who is this? And then he proceeds to make short work of both King Cold and Frieza. And Vegeta's like, look, man, I'm tired of this. When am I going to get to be a Super Saiyan? But then Goku comes back and he's wearing some interesting clothes. And he reveals that he's gained a new ability called the Instant Transmission from the people of the planet Yardrat, which is where he also got those clothes. Instant Transmission is very useful. But Goku, who's pleasantly surprised to see another Super Saiyan, is like, well, let's test my abilities. Let's test your abilities. Let's have a little bit of a sparring match. And so, with the same sword that shredded Frieza, he attempts to hit Goku, and Goku blocks with one finger multiple times, which kind of just goes to show Goku's gotten a lot stronger. You can choose to believe that Trunks is stronger here than Goku was at the end of the Namek arc, but again, that's up to how you want to assess that situation. But the reason that Trunks has come here in a time machine is because in the future that he is from, Goku is dead. And so is Gohan, so is Vegeta. Everybody is killed by these androids. and these androids will be released in 3 years. But Goku may be able to stop them. The only thing is, in the original timeline, he was killed by a heart disease. So he brings him an antidote and is like, hey, when you start feeling symptoms of the heart disease, take this medicine, you'll live, and maybe we can beat these androids. And it's like, okay. And the Trunks is like, later. And so Goku's like, okay, well, we have 3 years. Let's train. So they train for 3 years. Yeah, okay, so they train for the 3 years. And then 2 androids, 19 and 20, show up. And they start doing some fighting. Yamcha does exceptionally well and gets all of his ki drained. Because the thing about the androids is that they can absorb ki through hand contact. So they start fighting the Z fighters. And Vegeta unveils a pretty surprising fact in being that he can become a Super Saiyan now. How he became Super Saiyan is in his isolated training in between the last arc and this arc, because he left to do his own training, like off planet. And I'm not gonna get into the philosophy of the Super Saiyan, but like the thing is, you have to be at your own personal limits and then push past them by feeling like a deep-rooted emotional pain. That's why for Trunks in the future, it's that Gohan, his best friend and his only mentor, was killed. For Goku, it was that Krillin was killed. For Bardock, we don't talk about Bardock. For Vegeta, he accepted his fate that he would never truly be more powerful than Goku, which kind of feeds into Vegeta's character arc. I would love to talk about Vegeta's character in the future, but that is not the purpose of this video series. So yeah, Vegeta can go Super Saiyan. He bails out Goku, who went Super Saiyan in this fight, which triggered his heart disease to start attacking him. And it's like, well, what happened? It's like, well, he didn't get sick, so he never took the medicine. So Goku basically goes into a coma. They get him out of the fight. They send him home. They give him the medicine. They wait. Vegeta fights Android 19 and kills him, basically. And Android 20 gets really desperate and runs back to his base and is like, okay, I have 2 trump cards in the forms of androids 17 and 18. Trunks returns from the future and is like, hey, what are you guys doing? You're fighting the wrong androids. It's like, the wrong androids? And to that I say, Trunks, give them a description of what the androids look like. Even if you don't know that they're called 17 and 18, tell them that they're 17 and 18 just by like, oh, one of them is a guy, he's got black hair. The other one's a girl, got blonde hair. They would immediately know that androids 19 and 20 are the wrong androids. But 17 and 18 immediately turn on Dr. Gero, who's android 20. 17 kills him, and they decide to wreak havoc, but not before springing another one free, android 16. Which is interesting because androids 16, 17, and 18 are miles stronger than 19 and 20. So it's like, you would think that the higher the number is, the stronger they are, especially when you get to Android 21, when you go into Dragon Ball FighterZ territory, which I don't think is canon. But it could easily take place in between the Universe Survival arc, no, in between the Future Trunks arc and the Universe Survival arc. There's really no reason that it can't fit into that slot, but whatever. One moment. Vegeta is significantly weakened because he allowed Android 19 to siphon off a pretty good amount of his ki energy. And but he doesn't think that matters. He's like, okay, well, I can beat these androids. Actually, I forgot to mention, someone asked, well, why don't we just find these androids and destroy them before they're ever created? Vegeta says, well, no, we should fight them because, I mean, it would just be a good thing to do. We can show how strong we are by fighting these androids. And this is not the last time that Vegeta's pride will get nearly everybody killed in this arc. But at around the same time that all this is going on, or no, yeah, he's weakened, and so he goes to fight androids 17 and 18. 18 eviscerates him, breaks both of his arms. And while all this is going on, there's a creature called Cell, who goes around slurping people up with his tail. He meets Piccolo and then tells him his entire life story. Basically, He is a creation of Dr. Gero made with Saiyan cells, Frieza cells, Namekian cells, the cells of pretty much all the Z fighters and all of their enemies up to this point. So as a result, he has the regeneration abilities of a Namekian until he doesn't. And he gets Zenkai boosts when he's damaged like a Saiyan does. Those are the really the only important things that happen, because they don't really get into like, well, can he become Golden Cell if he has Frieza cells? We don't. That's because we don't have to worry about that. But essentially, he was created to absorb the androids and reach his perfect form. Nobody really understands what that is, but what I think happens is that Goku recovers, meets Cell, and is like, hey, give us 3 days. And he's like, okay. And what happens is, it turns out that there's a room called the Room of Spirit and Time, or in English, in the American version, it's the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Basically, if you go in there and you spend 1 day out here, you've been in there for 1 year. So the 3 years of training that they did to prepare for the androids could have been 3 days. Could very well have been 3 days. But they just didn't do it that way for some reason. I don't really know why. But Vegeta and Trunks go in. They train for a year. At which point, Vegeta unlocks the Super Saiyan Grade 2, and Trunks unlocks the Grade 3. And what that is basically, it's just an ascended form of the Super Saiyan form. Vegeta balances strength and speed. Trunks sacrifices speed for power. When they come out, Goku and Gohan go in. Goku's goal is to teach Gohan how to become a Super Saiyan. And while all this training is going on, Vegeta and Trunks are fighting Cell, who has absorbed Android 17 by this point and reached his semi-perfect form. 18 and 16 are nearly dead. But what happens is that Cell is like, whoa, wait, let me reach my perfect form. You know, if you want a fair fight, you let me go perfect. And Vegeta's like, sure. Sure. So he allows Cell to absorb Android 18 and become perfect. And Cell is like, no, Goku and Gohan come back. Gohan has become a Super Saiyan, but Goku's like, yeah, we're still not strong enough to do this. But luckily, Cell is like, I'll give you guys like a week before the Cell games. At which point, what the Cell games are is a tournament to decide the fate of the universe. Cell wants to just fight the world's greatest warriors because he's a Saiyan. And as such, having the DNA of all the Z fighters, he's got their abilities like the Solar Flare and the Destructo Disc, which I don't think we ever see him do, but the Spirit Bomb, the Kamehameha Wave, all this sort of stuff. It's been a while since I've taken a drink. Hold on, I got you, fam. Oh, that's nice. But Goku and Gohan achieve Super Saiyan Grade 4, which is a perfected version of the Super Saiyan form. You have max strength, max speed, you lose no stamina. You can basically be in this Super Saiyan form for as long as you want, with no physical cost to you. So, the Cell games roll around. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks are all a little bit stronger, but they're still not really a match for Cell. Cell is like, whoop, Cell Juniors. They start fighting everybody. And, let's see. Goku makes Gohan fight Cell, and Gohan nearly gets killed, but Android 16 is like, hello, nature. Over the course of this arc, Android 16 has never really wanted to do bad things, and he's kind of become friends with Gohan, like kind of like served as a mentor figure for him. So when Cell ultimately kills Android 16, it drives Gohan incredibly angry, and he becomes the first ever Super Saiyan 2, at which point he wipes out the Cell Juniors and lays the smacker down on Cell. So much to the point that he pukes up Android 18 and reverts back to his semi-perfect form. And Cell loses it. He gets so angry that he's like, you know what, I'm going to use Frieza's ability. I'm going to blow myself up, blow the planet up. And then Goku's like, not today, son. Uses a transmission or instantaneous movement to take him to King Kai or Kaio-sama's world, and he lets him explode there. The thing is that in order for Goku to use instantaneous movement, he has to lock onto somebody else's key signature in order to go to where that person is. That's why he can't just go wherever he wants. He has to lock onto a specific person. But as long as he can sense energy, it has no distance limits, which is how he. I mean, that was a pretty cool ability. But as a direct result, because Goku decides not to instant transmission back for some reason, he sacrifices himself, and it kills him, kills King Kai, kills Gregory, kills Bubbles. Everybody's dead. Except for Cell. There's still a little bit of him left. He regenerates, and because he's a Saiyan, he gets a Zenkai boost. And then he goes to absorb, like, leftover Goku DNA from the explosion site and becomes super perfect enraged Cell. And then he goes back to... he learns the instant transmission because Goku Cells. And then he goes back to Earth and is like, hey, Gohan, let's do this. Gohan loses the ability to use his left arm. And it comes down to like a Kamehameha clash. It's like, and then everybody else is like, pew, 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 and then Vegeta's like, and it knocks Cell off guard, and Goku shows up from the other world to lend some ki to Gohan's Kamehameha, and it goes to completely and utterly annihilate Cell. Actually, yeah, he hasn't come back, so yeah, that's it for Cell. Trunks was killed by Cell, but they used the Dragon Balls to wish back everybody that was killed by Cell. And so Android 17, 18, Trunks, everybody, they get brought back except for Android 16 because he was never human to begin with. Real quick. I skipped something important, didn't I? Oh, yeah. To gain more power, Piccolo fused with Kami. I got that event in the wrong place in the timeline. Piccolo fused with Kami to become the Super Namekian that originally came to Earth and became Kami and King Piccolo, the Demon King Piccolo from Dragon Ball. But doing this left the Earth without a Namekian Guardian, and the Dragon Balls were thereby rendered useless. So Goku was like, hey, Dende, you want to be Earth's Guardian? So Dende becomes Earth's Guardian and makes new Dragon Balls. So yeah, they use those Dragon Balls to wish back everybody that Cell killed, and peace is restored, but Goku is dead. Trunks goes home. Vegeta kind of doesn't have any purpose anymore because his whole thing is that he wants to get stronger than Kakarot, and as far as he can tell, Kakarot won't be back. But if you wished back everybody that was killed by Cell, why didn't Goku come back? Like, Goku's death was directly caused by Cell's explosion. Maybe because it was a sacrifice, it doesn't count. But I still feel like if Cell hadn't blown up, Goku wouldn't have died. So if you wish for everybody that Cell killed to come back, that should include Goku. But look, I don't write it. But yeah, this has been the Android/Cell saga of Dragon Ball Z Drunk Explained as best as I could. Kind of took a little longer than it really should have. This isn't even that long of an arc. Like the Boo saga. No, this is longer than the Boo saga, I feel like. But yeah. Again, like last time, if I got anything wrong, let me know. I'll see you soon.